Hi guys, Rich on Trackspark here. Hope you're all okay. Welcome to another little tutorial or tips and tricks, I guess. Today I'm going to be doing how to make your own swells. Just sort of stuff that a couple of little tricks that I use for making sort of swells or risers. I guess this one's more of a swell than a riser. For your tunes, but you're using parts from your actual tune so that I guess it'll sound better or get it to work better with that particular tune. It's specific to that particular song that you're working on, which I guess is better than just using a generic reverse cymbal or a generic sort of riser that you've got from Rise and Hit or a sample, whatever. If that all makes sense. So anyway, let's get on with it and let's listen to the tune and then see where I'm going to put the swell and then I'll talk you through exactly how we're gonna do it. Okie dokie. So there we go. This is sort of a bit of an alternative sort of chilly dance tune, and so that was the first bit. I guess was part of the main drop, and then we had a drop down section here at sort of bar 60. It was bar 67. Yeah, bar 67. So there's a drop down section. So what I want to do is obviously prepare the listener for this section change. I think it needed something there. And hopefully it'll make it sound a bit cooler as well in the process. And like I said, you can use. So what I'm going to do is use this vocal sample. I always find it works. I prefer personally. I like to use vocal samples for mine, but you can use any sort of instrument that you've got in your track. So a guitar or a synth sort of part. But I really like vocals, so I'm going to use this sort of part of this vocal here. So let's just listen to it. I'm falling. So it's got quite a nice sort of weird diffusion delay on it already. So what I'm looking for is long tails that I can then reverse and sort of swell up. So that's got a nice sort of like I said, tail on it already. If you want, you can sort of just add. I'll be putting stuff on, but then removing it again. So you could put a reverb on just to get a nice tail on what the instrument that you're using. So anyway, what I'm going to do is I'm going to add an effects track. And I'm going to go, because it's got sort of a reverby tail type thing going on, I'm going to add a delay. So I'm just going to go to, what's this, H delay. Let's try this H delay here. Not used it for a while, but I think it's pretty cool from memory. And I'm going to record. What I want to do is now send my original sort of vocal channel to my new delay, my FX2H delay there. So I'm just going to turn it up, and so it's up pretty much full whack. We can change volumes in a bit, doesn't matter. So the bigger the better the signal, the better at the moment. And I want to record just the delay. I want to record just that, sort of get a recording of just the delay. So you could sort of set your left and right locators and solo the two, and then export just that and then re-import it. So I could export this. I could export that and then re-import it. But what I want to do, just the way I like to do it, is record it sort of live. So I'm going to add an audio channel. I'm going to call this delay swell, I guess. Let's call it delay swell. Record, enable it, and I want to set the input of this delay swell channel to the output of my effects delay. So I'm going to send my effects delay now through a different group channel. So I'm just that's unused. So all of these are unused groups. So I'm just going to use this bottom one just to be safe. Group 10. So now the delay, the output of this delay is going through group 10. So if I set the input of my audio channel to group 10, I should, in theory, only record the delay. The actual sort of delay effect that's coming through. So let's start here and hit record, and hopefully we'll see what happens. Okay, cool. So we can see that if we just solo this now, that it's recorded what came out of the delay channel. So we've got a nice, cool sort of reverb tail. But actually, what I want to do is I'm just going to mess around with my delay quickly and check the timings are right, because I didn't do that. So it's in tempo, so 120 beats per minute. I'm just going to set, there we go, just to eighths, so not eighths doubles. And I'm going to ramp up this feedback a little bit just to give us a slightly longer tail. So now let's see what this sounds like. We've got a slightly longer tail there, which is cool, and the tempo or the rhythm of the delay is a little bit more in keeping with the tune. The other thing I want to do here, look, is it's got a ping pong setting. So it's just going to give us a bit more stereo width and a little bit more interest, because it's sort of a bit of an effect, I guess, isn't it, for the track? So we want it to be a little bit crazy. So let's just record that now and see what happens. In fact, let's just solo it all and then do it that way. Okay, so we've got a nice sort of cool, just the recording of just the delay. Now I'm going to chop it and keep it all sort of within sections of bars, just to help, you know, keep everything in time. And now what I want to do, let's just check this is okay. Okay, so we've obviously got the tail at the moment, but what I want it to do is swell up, so I'm just going to reverse it. So now, reversing that, I'm just going to put a bit of a fade on it, and if we listen to it, it should sort of swell up in a pretty interesting and cool way. Cool. So what we want to do next, I guess, quickly, is I don't want this weird reverse. Yeah, I want to chop all that off, because I just want the sort of swell up to just before the vocals actually happen. Let's try that. Let's just see what that sounds like. Yeah, cool. So we've just got that sort of what was the tail just building up, and it goes up to bar 67. So let's just make sure we keep all this cropped into nice even bars just for ease. And then we know that, again, like I said, the timing is going to be okay. So let's go back to our original vocal quickly and just turn that delay off, because I don't want that on there. So let's see what happens. So now I've got a nice sort of little swell. It's a little subtle at the moment, but a nice sort of swell up to that drop down section. So that's sort of part of it. Now what I want to do, just to And this drop down section, I don't want it to go completely dead and stop. I want it to sort of carry over. So I'm going to stick a reverb on. Let's just quickly pick one. Let's go for this EMT 250 because I know I've got a nice sort of plate. Let's find a plate setting. Here we go. Look, let's try a female vocal plate, so that it just gives it a nice atmospheric feel and carries over a little bit. There we go. That sits a little bit better, but let's give it a bit more gain. And I'm just going to EQ. Just going to clear up the bottom end. And I always find, just to sort of separate it from the original sample or instrument that you're using, if I just pull out sort of the mid frequencies, low mids, either around 500 or 1000, always seems to work quite well for me. I don't know why. It just separates. It pulls out, I guess, pulls out the body and just separates it from the original sample. So let's see how that works. Cool. So that sounds quite good at the moment. I'm just going to stick. I'm actually just going to stick. Let me just change the input here. I'm going to stick it back through that original delay, so we've got some of that original delay on it as well. Let's turn it down a bit just to help it and make it feel a little bit. It just smoothens it out a little bit more, doesn't it, and makes it a bit more even. So I think that works quite nicely. So that's the first part. The other way you could do this, I'm going to mute this out, is I'm going to take, the other way I like to do it is I'm going to stick with this original delay track, effects channel, and I'm going to ramp up the feedback so that it gets a little bit, let's pull down the analog there because we can hear it already getting a bit out of control. Right. Let's just mute that. I'm just going to chop out the bottom again a little bit. You can EQ these obviously how you want to, but so I'm going to send my original sort of vocal that I took the original thing from to it. So now this original vocal sample is going back through my delay, and I'm just going to automate the volume so that it, again, it's a similar sort of thing. It swells up to that bar 67, and then we're going to bring it back down again. So we're just automating the volume of that delay now that it's gone a bit crazy. I'm going to take, because we're not using it anymore, I'm going to take the delay, take this swell from the delay. So we're only literally looking at this channel here and then the delay itself. So let's see how this sort of crazy feedback delay now swells up into the same section. There we go. So that works pretty well as well. And if you want, let's pull this volume down of this sort of crazy swell and add the two together. So we've got a nice sort of original swell that we've made ourselves, and it's specific to your tune. Now let's just finish it off quickly. The last thing I like to do is to either just thicken it up or just layer it up, I guess, with a reverse cymbal, so just the standard sort of way of doing swells and things like that. So let's find a sample that I've got in my drums or something that I can just layer it up with. Doesn't look like I've got any cymbals in here at the moment. What's this reverb clap? Let's have a listen. Let's have a listen to this reverb clap channel. So let's solo that. Yeah, that might work. That's got a nice sort of reverby tail to it. So again, it's the same sort of thing. Something with a nice long reverb, a nice long tail to it. I guess it's quite atmospheric-y sounding that I can now reverse. So let's just reverse this. I've copied it over to the section. Just going to reverse it. Yeah, reverse, so that it sort of swells up. Let's just go back to my. Let's just mute that for a second. There we go. And let's just crop it to bar 67 because that's where I want it to stop. There we go. Just gives it a little bit more body, but I'm going to copy this over and unreverse this one, if that makes sense, so that we've got a nice sort of tail again. I don't want it to stop dead. Let's just crossfade them. There we go. That's smooth enough for the time being. Give them a little bit more gain. There we go. And let's see how that sounds. There we go. A nice sort of reverse vocal swell. Oh, let's undo our crazy delay as well. So we've got a nice sort of tailored reverse vocal swell with some reverb and delay on, and that sort of prepares us and makes it sound cool and funky for the next section. I guess quickly we could use the same sort of thing. If you're still listening, we can use the same sort of thing for the main drop. So where's the main drop happen? So we've got a drop section. Where's the main drop happen? Here it is. So bar 51. So if we do a nice swell up to bar 51, but this time what I like to do before sort of your main drop section is have a stop. So we're not going to continue the reverb tails and stuff over on this one. So let's just have a listen. We could lose that if we wanted to. The reverb's not too bad. And then let's just thicken it up with that reverse clap again. So let's copy one back and stick it. It was one beat before the main drop, wasn't it? So let's just, so that's layered up with that sort of reverse vocal. Again, that sort of obviously prepares us and sounds cool for the main drop section. You know, we'll play around with EQ a little bit more and levels, etc. But there you go. There you have it. How to create your own swells out of your instruments and vocals in your track to make it sort of fit better. Nice one. Cheers, guys. Bye.